Welcome to this Saturday Travel and History Tip, and we are at the California Missions. We have just started our tour of the 21 gorgeous missions that span the coast of California. Last Saturday, we gave you an introduction to the missions and visited Mission San Francisco Solano, Mission San Francisco de Assisi, and Mission Santa Cruz. Today, we will be going to San Juan Bautista, San Carlos Borromeo de Carmelo, Nuestra Senora de la Soledad. We spent a few days in Hollister and Gilroy. If any of you have ever heard of the Little Dogs of the Prairie, you may have heard the names Gilroy and Hollister. And here they are, two cities south of San Jose. Gilroy is actually the garlic capital of the world, and if you're ever there, you'll have to try the garlic ice cream. It's a stomach pounder for sure. But while there, we went to see Mission San Juan Bautista. It is at the San Juan Bautista State Historic Park. Named for John the Baptist, San Juan Bautista is the 15th mission, and it is located directly on the San Andreas Fault near Monterey in San Juan Bautista, and was founded by Padre Lawson on June 24, 1797. In 1820, the church acquired the largest collection of apostolate paintings of all the missions. Fortunately, the town maintained the mission after secularization, saving it from decaying. President James Buchanan returned the property to the church in 1859. Built in 1812, the current church withstood the Great Earthquake of 1906. This is the largest of all the missions. It is famous for presiding over the only remaining original Spanish plaza in California. The mission is worth extra time to learn about the immense history and in order to explore the well-preserved 30-building, 12-block plaza. One of the bells in the tower is original. The old dirt road beyond the mission cemetery wall is an original section of El Camino Real. And I have to say something that's really sad. Well, it's sad to me. The first time that we went to San Juan Bautista and the Carmel mission, somehow we have lost all those photographs. We have been to these both a second time, and my pictures are limited because I did not realize that the pictures had been lost. Fortunately, that hasn't happened very often to us. The collection of our original ones at San Juan Bautista and Carmel and going to Pebble Beach all were lost. You know what that means. We have to go back. Next stop, San Carlos Borromeo de Carmelo is the second mission. We chose to visit this charming Moorish-designed mission in Carmel-by-the-Sea because it was Padre Serra's favorite, the place of Serra's death and his final resting place. It was founded June 3, 1770, Pentecost Sunday, at the Presidio in Monterey. Serra moved the mission to Carmel to be closer to the Indian settlements. It was named for King Carlos III of Spain, who ordered its establishment. All Spanish and Mexican governors of Alta California attended the San Carlos Cathedral Carmel mission. A recreation of Serra's humble room is part of the displays. Serra died on August 28, 1784, and as he requested, was buried before the main altar inside the church, known as the Serra Adobe. It was the fifth church. The posthumous title of Apostle of California is inscribed on the marker over Serra's grave. Padres Crespi, Lopez, and Lassen are also buried alongside him. The Serra Adobe was dismantled. A provisional sixth church served until completion of the seventh mission church. For a while, the burial sites were outdoors until the current church, San Lucia Sandstone, was completed in 1797. After secularization in 1834, the property fell into ruins but was returned in 1859 by the U.S. President. Appointed mission curator in 1932, Sir Harry Downey oversaw most of the 5-decade restoration, which began in 1921. He is buried in the mission cemetery. This mission is filled with fascinating art and artifacts. The circa 1774 Orchard House is the state's oldest residence. One of the great things about going to these missions, and it isn't about it necessarily being a Catholic church, it's the history and the special items, special trees, the culture that are imparted and protected at these locations. There are 2 bell towers. Most of the 9 bells in the large Moorish-style dome are original. Does that not seem just fascinating to you? The gardens include gorgeous flowering plants, citrus and olive trees, brilliant roses, aromatic Mexican sage, and glorious bougainvilleas, plus a variety of culinary and medicinal herbs. At each mission, I make a point to stop and smell the roses. They all have beautiful rose bushes, and I try to make it a point, even if it's a botanical garden or wherever I am. If I see a rose bush, I take the time to stop and smell the roses. The mission continues to serve as a parish church and school, and it is the only remaining original Presidio chapel, the oldest continuously active church on the Pacific Coast and California's first cathedral. For me, the most impressive mission displays were Padre Serra's Bible and bronze reliquary burial cross and stole. This is the part that was so exciting for me. Ronald Reagan placed his hand on this historic Bible at his swearing-in ceremony as governor. Pope Francis canonized Padre Junipero Serra on September 20 23, 2015, at the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, D.C. On our second visit to the mission, it was 12 days after his canonization, and many of Sarah's personal items had been sent to Washington, D.C. for the event. The mission had undergone attacks from around that time because some Native Americans believed Sarah to be a controversial figure, forcibly proselytizing their ancestors. Pope John Paul II had beatified Sarah in 1988. His process to sainthood began in 1934. Sarah represents the state of California in the U.S. Capitol Statuary Hall. Sculptor Ettore Codoren's 7-foot-tall masterpiece was unveiled in 1939 and has Sarah holding a model of the Carmel mission. When we went there the second time, the Bible was actually gone because it was one of the artifacts that had been sent to D.C. The picture that I had of the Bible when we were there first time, as I mentioned, we've lost that photograph. How sad. Last stop, Padre Lawson founded Nuestra Señora de la Soledad on October 9, 1791. The mission was inundated with floods in 1824, 1828, and 1832. Following secularization, the remaining buildings were looted for supplies. Governor Pio Pico sold the mission for a reported $800. After being abandoned for almost 100 years, the mission fell into total ruins. In 1954, when the mission's Soledad restoration began, only piles of adobe dirt and a few wall sections from the courtyard-centered quadrangle remained. The chapel was reconstructed and dedicated on October 9, 1955, on the anniversary of its founding 163 years earlier. Spanish Governor José Joaquín de Arrillaga had been buried beneath the floor in the chapel. He died on July 24, 1814, during a visit there. That'll kind of ruin your stay, won't it? His grave was identified just outside the current structure and given a new marker. He was Alta California's first governor. The Soledad Mission is a Catholic chapel, and the historic convento wing serves as a public museum. Cast in Mexico City in 1793, the mission's original bell is inside the chapel. A copy of the small bell hangs outside on a wooden beam to the left of the front door. We walked around the ruins of the quadrangle, cemetery, and some of the outer rooms. The prolific grapevines overloaded with fruit on the fence behind the chapel are incredible, and the olive grove is awesome. In 1906, guidepost bells were placed along the Camino Real to guide early travelers and to preserve this historic route, which linked California's missions beginning in 1769. I sent the Mission 1 video to a friend the other day, and she said that at this time her brother is on a trek to visit all 21 missions. That was kind of timely. I asked her to share the video with him, and she said that she would. If you appreciate our content, tell others and repost on your social platforms, because this is American history. We need to learn it, love it, appreciate it. Don't let them steal our history. Share our American history, just as my friend shared Mission 1 with her brother. Thank you.